Let's start the topic electrostatics. Now, before beginning the electrostatics topic, we need to understand what is meant by electrostatics. Actually, you may have studied all the chapters regarding first year, like gravitation and all, and it is nearly similar to that only, but somehow it is different. And electricity is completely, we are going to discuss about very small things here. Here we are going to discuss only about very small things which are not visible to us, and it comes under classical physics only. We don't need to think this is a quantum physics or something like that. This one belongs to classical physics or classical mechanics only. Nearly it is related to that only. But this chapter is not related with mechanics. But some of the mechanical laws we are going to use, and some mechanical variables are also we are going to use in this chapter. As you have studied in mechanics, force, displacement, velocity and all those variables we are going to use here also, but slightly different than that. Let's start. Right, electrostatics. Here, if you see electrostatics, it means what? Charges, electric charges which are at rest, means study of charges which are at rest is called as electrostatics. Study of charges which are at moving, which are in moving position, like they are in velocity or as well as in acceleration, we will study about them in dynamics, means electrodynamics. Now we will just deal about electrostatics, which is our part of the syllabus. Even electrodynamics is also our part of the syllabus, and we will cover those chapters in the next video lectures. Right. First point is electric charge. What is meant by electric charge? See, electric charge is like it's a fundamental quantity. It's a fundamental quantity which we cannot be seen through our eyes. Okay, even with a microscope also we cannot see the charge. We just have to understand it. That's it. Okay, it will be having some what we call this one. We can measure that one. It can be measurable. It can be measurable and constant. It is a measurable thing as well as a constant, like mass, length, time, etc. These are all fundamental quantities, as well as charge is also a fundamental quantity. Right. Remember like that. And now, how electric charge is going to be measured? Electric charge is going to be measured with help of coulombs. Okay. 1 coulomb is equals to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. One means nothing but 1 electric charge is equal to that, like that. And 1 coulomb nearly consists of so many number of electrons, like 6.022 into 10 to the power of 18, 19 something, like that number is there. We will calculate in the next lectures. Okay, right. Now let's see what is meant by conservation of charge. Conservation of charge. See, the same like conservation of energy, conservation of mass, conservation of charge is also the almost all same. It means energy is going to be conserved. It means we know that the definition of conservation of energy, right? That is, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be changed from one form to another form, like that, right? In the same manner, the mass also. Mass can never be changed. It means nothing but mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. It's a constant thing. Right? In the same manner, electric charge is also a constant thing. Okay? It is also a constant and it can be conserved. It can be conserved, remember. It means, for example, if you take any body like this chalk here, if you take this chalk, if I divide this chalk into pieces, okay, before dividing this one into pieces, consider this chalk consists of the charge 5 coulombs. Okay, this one consists of 5 coulombs, and now as I have divided this one into 2 parts, this is the small part and this is the big part. That's why I am sharing that 5 coulombs in a different manner like this. To this big part I am sharing, I am giving 3 coulombs and this one and 2 coulombs. I can give like that, but I cannot give 2 coulombs and 2 coulombs to this one, because The summation of the two charges of these two bodies, means these two parts, should be is equals to the part which is there before, means the whole part. It means if this whole part consists of 5 coulombs, if we divide them into two parts, these two parts also should have same charge, means their summation should be same. Understood now? This is nothing but called as conservation of charge, right? Next, transfer of charge. Charge can be transferred in different ways. See, charge can be transferred by using friction, and some other factors also will be available. For example, if you maintain some potential difference, charge can be transferred. It means if you want to transfer the charge, you need to do some work on it in a particular conditions. Okay, and mainly example friction. With the help of frictional force, we can transfer the charge. Example, if you take any body which is a plastic body, and if you rub it through your hair, okay, then that plastic body will become a charged body. It will have the capacity to attract small bits of paper. Okay, that capacity came to that plastic piece because of rubbing. We have given some energy, our mechanical energy worked on it, and it has given some electrical energy to that electrical energy is used to create an electric field around that, and some of the charges, exchange of some of the charges taken place between the hair and also the stick, the plastic stick. Okay, that is the reason the plastic sheet will get, the plastic stick will get some capacity to attract the bits of the paper. Bits of paper are not actually charged bodies, they are neutral and lighter bodies. That's why a charge can attract neutral and lighter bodies also. Okay, that one we will learn in properties of charges now. Okay, you will understand clearly regarding that one now. Next, quantization of charge. Yes, this is an important thing, very important. Quantization means nothing but energy is quantized, and like that we will say in the same manner charge is also going to be quantized. Mass cannot be quantized, charge can be quantized and energy can be quantized. It means we have to define that quantization by defining with a number, by defining with an integral multiple like n, any number, means n is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, any number, any particular perfect number. Okay, that will be called as quantization of energy, and it cannot be taken as 1 by 2, 1 by 3. No, such numbers we should not take. We just have to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that only numbers. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, any number we can take, but it should not be a 1 by 2, 1 by 3, such number should not be taken. Fractions we should not take, only number n should be a particular number, natural number. We can say it as a natural number. Right. And if you see here the formula, Q is equals to plus or minus Ne, right, where n represents any number from 1 to infinity. Next, E means electron charge, 1 electron charge. See, actually Q means actually charge, and E means quantized quantity. This is a quantized quantity, we can say this one, and E will have some particular value. This value is based on experimental values, and this one came like this manner. Quantization means we just have to keep plus or minus. Yes, plus or minus indicates what? Plus indicates the positive and minus indicates negative. Yes, as we know that. Plus Ne means positive charge, minus Ne means a negatively charged body. It means, for example, if you consider this body, I have taken some amount of charge from this body. It means I have taken few electrons from this body. If I have taken out the electrons, then this body will be considered as a positively charged body because of more number of protons in it. And for example, if I have given some electrons to this one, I have added some electrons to this one, then it will be considered as a negatively charged body because the majority charges are negatively charged bodies, means negatively charged ones, like electrons. I have added some electrons, that's when electron number is higher than the proton number. As the proton number is less here, this body can be considered as a yes. this body can be considered as a negatively charged body, right? And I think I hope you understand well, right? Let me go to next one. Properties of the charge, right? Here we have described a few properties of the charge. Actually there will be so many properties and we don't need to discuss so many. These are the main basic and important properties that we should remember to understand about the charge well, right? First one, like charges repel and unlike charges attract. Yes, already we know, we have studied in childhood also. If you take any magnet, magnets has two poles, north pole and south pole. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract each other, that we have studied there. In the same manner here also the same. Like charges repel here and unlike charges attract there. Like poles and unlike poles. Here like charges and unlike charges. Same principle. That doesn't mean poles and charges are same. No. Poles are different and charges are different, but they act in a similar manner. Okay, fine. And there is some relation between that magnets and also these charges. Yes, there will be so many relations in that if you go deep into that, but we don't discuss all those things now here. Magnetism and electricity are interrelated concepts. We will discuss about that one in electromagnetic induction chapters. Okay, later we will see about all those things. Now we just need to understand the basic things like charges, what are the properties of charges, how it behaves, what is the units and everything, right? Let's see. Like charges repel and unlike charges attract, we know, right? Charge is invariant. That is, charge doesn't change with the change in velocity. Yes, this is a very important point that we have to remember for the purpose of concept. See, in JEE exams and all, they may not ask you whether these theoretical questions. Sometimes there is a possibility also to ask such theoretical questions. For that, you should have good knowledge regarding theory also. Only if you know the formula, that isn't enough in JEE and also NEET. Okay, you need to understand the concept very well in a particular sequence as well as in a particular manner, which will be helpful for all competitive examinations. Okay, you need to understand well. That's why only I have given so many different points here to understand about the charge in a good manner. Right, see, charge is invariant. That is, charge doesn't change with change in velocity. Yes. For example, if you are moving with some velocity u, is your mass changes, means for example, if you are 60 kg person, if you are moving with velocity of 90 kilometers per hour like that, will your mass decreases or increases? No, it will not increase or decrease. Obviously, we know that. But if the speed is nearly is equals to speed of light, then there will be some change in our body. That means mass of the body. There will be some change in the mass of the body. Okay, that changes will be called as relativistic changes. Relativistic mass we call that one as. Okay, all those theories you are going to learn in BSc and MSc and in all those areas. Theory of relativity, that is the topic. There you are going to learn more about that one. But even though the mass is changes when there is the speed which is nearly is equal to speed of light, but charge will not change. Whatever the speed you go, whatever the velocity you may take, but there is no change in the charge. Charge will always be constant. That's why only we will say that charge is invariant, completely invariant. Right, length, mass and time changes with change in velocity but not charge. Yes, just now I have explained. Length can be changed, mass can be changed, and even time also can be changed if you reach the speed of light. If you reach the speed of light, or if you reach nearly equal to speed of light also, there will be some sort of changes in mass, length and also time. We call that changes are relativistic mass, relativistic length and relativistic time, like that we will say. Okay, if you reach generally according to theory of relativity, whenever you reach the speed of light, they will say time stops. It means time will not at all run from that particular second onwards if you reach that speed of light. Okay, that's none of our business now. Now let's see. Charge is additive. Means charge has additive property. Means, for example, if you consider a body like this, at different areas I have given different charges. For example, in this area I have given or else you can consider this body is there. First I have given plus q charge to this. Again some other person came in and he has given minus q charge. Again another one came and given minus 2q, minus 3q, like that. So many different people came in they have given different charges. Then what will be the final charge of the body? Okay, it will be added. It should be added. How we are going to add? Let's see with an example. See, example, let's consider a body having charges plus q, minus 2q, minus 3q, plus 4q. Okay, then net charge is the summation of all given charges. That is, q net is equals to sum of all the charges. Plus q minus q gets cancelled. Minus 2q, minus 3q, and plus 4q. What they have given there? Right. You just have to add the things. Plus q, minus 3q, plus 4q. Okay, anything is missing there? Yes, minus 2q is missing. That's why you can add here minus 2q. Q minus 2q. That is equals to minus q. That's it. Q net is equals to minus q. Here also we have to add that minus 2q. Fine. That's it. This is all. This is nothing but called as a additive property of the charges. Next, Coulomb's law. Right. Now we are done with the basic things about the charge. Now let's consider very important law, which is Coulomb's law. See, to understand Coulomb's law, let's go with the things which are there on the board, and next I will explain you clearly. If q1 and q2 are the charges at stationary points in free space separated by a distance r, then the force of attraction or repulsion between them is given as F equals mod of q1 into mod of q2 divided by r square into k. K is nothing but a constant. Okay, fine. See, let's consider two charges. I am considering these are the two charges which are separated by a distance r. Distance between them is r. Let's consider like that. These two charges are placed at distance r and having q1 and q2 charges, right? Now, the force of attraction or repulsion, we have to define. We can be determined easily by seeing the charges. For example, these two charges are positive, then there will be definitely repulsion force will be there. If these two charges are negative, even though repulsion only will be there, one is positive and one is negative, then there will be attraction force, because as we know, like charge repel, unlike charge attract in the same manner. Okay, if I consider these two are negative charges or positive charges, let's consider these two are positive, then q1 and q2 modulus, it means modulus is saying there what? Simply we just have to consider only the magnitude of the charges, but not the positive or negative, whatever it may be there. Okay, magnitude of charge 1 into magnitude of charge 2 divided by distance between them square into k. Right. As the distance keep on increasing, force decreases. It means force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. And also force is directly proportional to the product of their charges. Directly proportional to the product of their charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, according to the formula. As you needed to remove the directly proportionality symbol, we need to keep some constant k, and where k is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. 4 already we know it's a constant, pi is also a constant number, we know, right? And epsilon naught is the permittivity of a free space, means vacuum. Permittivity of a vacuum also we can see. It means where there is no air, no water, nothing, no medium. Okay, there. That is the value. If you keep all the values, you are going to get the value 9 into 10 power 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square. How this one get that unit? How we have to derive? Let's see on the board later. Now, right now, if we keep these two things in vacuum, this is k value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. If I keep these two in any medium like water or some other medium, then it is going to change. How it will change? Let's see. Dielectric medium is placed fully, means distance between them should be R, we know that one. But that distance completely filled with some dielectric medium like water or anything, then K is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon, simply. Or epsilon m also you can keep here, means epsilon of a medium, means permittivity of the medium, like that, okay. And there is a relation between that permittivity of medium and permittivity of space, free space, that will be called as epsilon R, means relative permittivity. Okay, the relation is epsilon medium, means permittivity of medium is equals permittivity of free space into relative permittivity, right? And if you substitute that one, we are going to get this. Okay, I hope you understand. Now, how the units came into that Newton meter square per coulomb, Newton meter square per coulomb square, how it came? Let's see now. F is equals to Q1 Q2 by R square, right? We know the units of force, right? Force is measured in newtons. See, that newtons is equals to, means here K is there, means F R square by Q1 and Q2 is equals to K, right? Right, force is measured in newtons. R square means, R means what? Distance between the two charges, right? Distance means what? Length. Length will be measured in meters, meter square. Q1 and Q2. Q1 is a charge, Q2 is also a charge. Charge is measured in coulombs. Two are there, that's why square. Newton meter square per coulomb square. That is simply nothing but, okay, units. We can say this is units. Units we are going to measure in this manner. Okay, dimensional formula also we can derive now. Let's see how the dimensional formula looks. Okay, fine. Now, principle of superposition. See, just now we have discussed about Coulomb's law, how the Coulomb's law works, and what is Coulomb's law, and what is its formula, what is its units, and all. We just have seen now. Let's see what is meant by principle of superposition. In the name itself, it is saying superposing of some forces. Okay, superposition means superposition of some forces which are F means Coulomb nature, means nothing but Coulomb forces, superposition of some Coulomb forces. Means, for example, let's consider a charge Q here plus Q, and here plus 2Q, and here plus okay, not plus, minus Q, and here I am considering minus 3Q. Like this, arbitrarily I have taken different charges which are at different points. Now, principle of superposition says what is the summation of, means the vector sum of all the forces, okay, is nothing but called principle of superposition. Means, for example, there are three forces, F1, F2 and F3. Okay, F1 is equals to K into, F1 is in between plus Q and minus Q. That's why Q and Q, means modulus we have to take. Don't think plus Q minus Q will get cancelled. No, it's not like that. We just have to take their magnitudes only, Q and Q. Okay, as this is minus here and this is plus, there will be attraction force in between them, that one only. Okay, we can consider like that. Q and Q by, what is the distance between them? Okay, distance not given now. Let's consider the distances. Here the distance is R1, here distance is R2, and here distance is R3. Consider. Then R1 square. F2 is equals to, in the same manner, K. F2 is in between Q and plus 2Q. That's why Q into 2Q divided by R2 square. Next, F3 is equals to, it is in between Q and minus 3Q. That's why K, Q, 3Q, R3 square. Then F net is equals to, means here superposition principle we need to give. See here, these three are in a different manner, right? That's why we just have to consider only the forces. We have to add them in a vectorial manner, right? All right. Then we don't have enough data here. See, these three are all different manner. That's why we just need to understand these are all vectors like this. I will mention them as vectorially. Then F net is equals to F1 bar plus F2 bar plus F3 bar. And here, not directly these things we should not take. Here, vector notations we need to mention. Just simply we need to mention some vector notations and we have to add. Okay, if you feel some problem regarding vector notations, here we need to keep here some unit vector. Okay, as you have studied in mathematics, what is unit vector, what is a normal vector and all, you can keep here and you can get it. Means for example here, R1 cap we will keep. It means as you are mentioning here R1, it will become R1 cube. And here R2 cap. That's why it will be R2 cube. Here R3 cube and R3 cap. These are all position vectors simply. Okay, as a positions vector, if you mention here directly, you can add them in this manner. But if you want a particular exact value, if you know these values like here theta 1 and here theta 2, then you can find the components of that and you can directly add them easily, simply. Okay, right. This is all about the principle of superposition. By doing so many problems, you will come to know how to do them. Okay, you should be very good in vectors. Then it will be easy, very easy. Fine. Now, let's do some examples on principle of superposition. Example, let's consider a square having charges q each and every point. Q, all positive charges only thing, right? It's whose square side is small a, whose square side is a small a, and we need to find out A, B, C and D are the points. We need to find out the net force at point A. Okay, net force at point A means this charge will be getting repelled by charge at B, charge at C and charge at D, right? What is the total net force acting at this charge, acting on this charge by remaining three charges? Okay, that one we need to find out. Fine, let's see. First of all, the force of attraction or repulsion between, here repulsion only we have to consider because all are positive, no? Right. Repulsion, force of repulsion between the charge at A and charge at B. I am considering that as FAB. Okay. Force at AB is equals to Q and Q are there, that's why Q square divided by A square into K, where K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, we know that one already, right? Next, F AD we have to consider. F AD, that is equals to K into Q square by A square. Obviously same, because same distance is there, no, as it is a square, whether it is horizontal or vertical, whatever it may be, distance is same. While taking, we have to consider in a different manner, that's it. Okay, here it is I cap and here it will be j cap, and don't think here k cap. Okay, it is not in 3-dimensional manner, it is in only 2-dimension only. Okay, fine. Right, next F, this diagonal length we need to find out. As this is A and this is also A, we know according to Pythagoras theorem this will be is equals to root 2A, right? F is equals to, means FAC is equals to KQ square by root 2A whole square, that is KQ square by 2A square. That's it, KQ square by 2A square. Now see here, we know this is a square and having 4 charges at their corners. We know that the diagonal length is root 2A and all, and FAB means A to B home. What is the force acting? KQ square by A square. FAD, A to D, what is the force acting? KQ 2 square by A square. This is the same force, FAB equals to FAD, because the distance between them is same and also charges are same, but the directions are different. They are perpendicular to each other. Next, FAC, A to C, the distance is root 2 A square. That's why this is half of the force of these two. If you take FAB and FAC, there will be half difference in between them, right? It means 2 into FAC is equals to FAB, nothing but simply, right? Next, as FAB and FAD are equal, they both are equal and perpendicular to each other. That's why we have to take their resultant. We have to consider what? A resultant. See the resultant here, f dash square, means I am considering the resultant as f dash, and that f dash square is equals to FAB square plus FAD square according to Pythagoras theorem, right? Simply. Next, f is equals to f dash is equals to under root of, simply we have substituted the values of FAB and FAD in this present equation. Then we are going to get under root 2 KQ square by A square. If you follow the steps, you can understand this. And next, f dash, just now we found f dash is equals to root 2 KQ square by A square. Next, FR means total resultant force, not just resultant of these two, resultant of the whole 3 forces. That is equals to resultant of these 2 forces plus this force. Okay, here only one force is there, that's why resultant and resultant itself the same force, FAC. That's why f dash plus FAC is equals to F resultant or F net force acting on this point A where the charge is located. Next, FR is equals to under root 2 plus 1 by 2. See here, 1 by 2 is there, right? 2 is there in denominator, that's why 1 by 2 we have taken common outside. KQ square by A square is common in each and every equation, that's why we have taken common outside. And root 2 plus 1 by 2, 2 root 2 plus 1 into KQ square by 2 A square is the total resultant force acting. It is the total resultant force acting on the point A by remaining 3 forces. Fine, like this so many examples we can discuss.